It appears that we are getting very close to identifying the culprit in the David case, and we have some new, breaking information. Take a look at this. A few days prior to her potential murder, Celeste was reportedly seen at one of David's concerts on August 24th. Additionally, we have a parking citation that details the precise day the vehicle was towed. Additionally, there are a few other items in this film, such the strangely discovered broken Ring doorbell outside David's house, and fresh details from neighbors who told us they frequently observed the couple. Let's explore it. First of all, this picture that has been making the rounds online may be of David's performance from the Silver Spring event on August 24th. Actually, there were two, one on the 23rd and another on the 24th. Now, this girl behind the stage caught the attention of some onlookers. On the balcony, she was... I'll look for a better clip for you. Here is the performance. And notice how she is accompanied by David's brother. Actually, that's David's brother, followed by the female. Because of her curly hair, some people are now wondering if this Celeste is real. As you may know, she is Hispanic, and people of that ethnicity typically have darker skin. Do you know what Celeste was wearing when her body was found? She's wearing a black tube top, a tube top that is black. This one is even better. Here's another. Improved closer-up. Fans are pointing out that she is wearing a golden necklace and a pink bracelet. This is the official article from the time she was discovered. You see, she wore a metal chain bracelet in the shape of a W and a tube top. She's wearing a bracelet and a black tube top in this picture. Girls do, of course, wear bangles, necklaces, and black tube tops. Therefore, it might simply be a coincidence. Actually, I received a comment on my most recent video. My sister attended the Silver Spring concert here in Maryland, remarked this guy named Delta. It reminded her a lot of Celeste. She remarked, the crowd was so small that it was simple for everyone to see her up close. Many more people will start posting their own photos of her there once that one image truly gets going. Another improved one is this one. Instead of only accepting what I'm saying, I'm presenting you all these images so you may also form your own opinions. Some commenters claim that those are her large eyes. In fact, he waved and pointed to her. Let me actually demonstrate that for you as well. You can see that he is pointing at her and waving a love heart in this clip. Pointing up at Celeste and her brother with a love heart wave. You may be wondering why this matters now. As you can see, this parking citation was also observed on August 27, 2025. Celeste was observed at the concert on the 24th. 3 days later, on August 27th, we have this parking ticket for David's Tesla. I'll read this post to you all. After posting their own research into the matter, NBC The Leonard Files found some intriguing facts regarding the Tesla. On August 27th, a city employee first saw the vehicle and marked it for a 72-hour surveillance. This indicates that the vehicle was unlawfully parked on August 27th and to check if the automobile moved. I believe he chalked it on the tire. Therefore, it would still suit the timetable if Celeste had attended the Maryland event on August 24th. It was eventually impounded after being noticed for the 70 to 72 hours that ended on the 3rd. Between citation and towing, there are waiting times. Therefore, this makes perfect sense. Let's assume that on the 25th they returned from a performance. On that day, or perhaps the 26th or the 27th, he killed it. On the 27th, he relocated the car in an improper location, which is when it received this penalty. After that, he didn't move the automobile because it had a dead body, and until it was eventually towed and the body was found on the 8th, it will remain there until the 3rd of September. Thus, vehicle was towed and impounded on the 3rd day, and the body was eventually found on the 8th day, a period of around 5 days. For example, if she was murdered on the 25th, it would take 10 or 9 days from the time of her death to the day her body was found, which would explain the decomposition. It seems like 10 days in the heat in Los Angeles. Thus, this appears to be the most plausible explanation and, in a sense, the most promising timeline that we currently have. Our inquiry is not without its challenges though, as it turns out that the girl in the video is not Celeste. Don't click away just yet, though, since I would really like to fight this. And many others on the internet are claiming that this is truly Celeste. What do you say? Celeste Rivas is actually in the popular concept video, despite TMZ's post from last night claiming otherwise. Here she is. Therefore, according to people involved in the investigation, the young woman on the balcony is not Celeste Rivas, David's victim. However, what evidence do you have that this woman is not Celeste? Before we start arguing against this, let me play the TMZ clip for you all to see what they had to say.
So I was so excited when I saw some video that purported to be video of potentially Celeste in the balcony at one of his concerts over the summer, which would have given us some timeline. It just didn't seem to pan out though.
Yeah, you know, I get why people online were really into this video and thought that this was going to be critical to the investigation. There is this woman, the video is David in concert from, it's either August 23rd or 24th. He had 2 shows in Silver Springs, Maryland. And there's a woman in the balcony who he actually acknowledges, looks up at her. She certainly could have been Celeste. It looked like it. And a lot of people immediately latched onto this. But we have been told by a source that is connected to the case that it is not Celeste, and therefore it doesn't do what we hoped it would do, right? That if this actually were her, then we would know that she was killed within a roughly 10-day period. At some point during those 10 days would have been when she was killed.
There is rampant speculation and theorizing and conspiracy theories online, and a lot of it has to do with pictures that people think are Celeste. And it's really clear to me that there are several different people in his world that look like her. For instance, the video of one of the songs has a girl who looks exactly like Celeste, the same hair, and it is not her. Her credit has a whole other name at the end of the video.
Here's what some Reddit users who are fans or interested in the case had to say about TMZ's claim that Celeste is not on the balcony. I don't know, as much as we would like it to be her. Should this be the same source that initially informed TMZ that Celeste was the body in the car? Then, well, it might not be her. Wasn't this the same source that provided the LAPD with the information they needed to identify the body? Why would they claim that this girl isn't her after providing such an important and beneficial tip? The LAPD is most likely the source, claiming to have proof that refutes this theory. Since there haven't been any recent sightings, unless I'm missing, it would make sense if it wasn't her. According to some, it might also be a promoter, a venue employee, or the girlfriend of someone who fits that description. It would make perfect sense to say that it might be a decoy, and it would be worse for him if it turned out that he was attempting to stage a performance with a female who looked like her and wore the same clothes in order to divert the investigation. This whole thing is insane. Yes, more and more individuals are stating, I am not that much into conspiracy theories, but could it be he placed that girl there on purpose? Some people are now questioning it as well, and I'm among those who have doubts about it, because there's no way to know for sure that this pixelated girl who vaguely resembles Celeste isn't Celeste. I'm not sure, unless they obtained the information straight from the LAPD. A person with knowledge of the matter claims, BS man, it's obviously her. If not, the real person who is a fan would have said anything, and are well aware of the current circumstances. To be honest, Celeste looked just like that one screenshot. I don't think TMZ is real. Who is it, if not her? They must demonstrate it. Alright, enough of the post. But hurry up people, she is indeed there. I apologize. This guy commented, I'm dying on this hill, even though I just stated that I wouldn't be reading any more posts. It's her. Please share your opinions in the comments. Gentlemen, in fact, I'm intrigued. Is this female here Celeste, in your opinion? It's difficult for me personally because she went completely silent, I believe, in June or July. Like she didn't communicate with her family after June. No friend messages, no posts. She seemed to go silent after I can't recall exactly July or June. It will therefore be strange that she was present at the concert when she interrupted everyone. Because of this, it's really unclear and might not be her, but she looks just like it. The hair and the jewelry are similar. She is wearing the same black tube top and golden necklace that were used to find her. But it's also possible that David intentionally put this female up there. He was aware that it would be one of his final performances before they discovered his body. He deliberately placed a female in the line of sight of the cameras, dressed in a black tube top, a necklace, and black curly hair. She resembles Celeste in that she has darker skin. You can therefore say, oh, hold on, Celeste was actually at my show. As that gentleman mentioned in the comments, she was somewhat of a decoy. It's really strange. Additionally, it somewhat corresponds with the parking ticket he received. He received the citation because he killed her between the 24th and the 27th when she was at this performance on the 24th and parked his car illegally on the 27th. It found the body on the 8th day after it was hauled a few days later on the 3rd or 4th. It's compatible. It aligns, because some people claim that he killed her in late July or early August. So why hadn't he received a parking ticket earlier? Unless he was simply constantly repositioning the vehicle to avoid receiving a ticket and to keep it out of front of his house. However, that body could not have survived a month in the heat of Los Angeles in the trunk. I'm not sure. I simply don't understand it. Additionally, he was unable to move his car around because he was on tour. Guys, I'm not sure. In the comments, I will need your assistance. Comment below with your comments. Let's now discuss the remarks made by the neighbors, as well as the strange broken Ring doorbell and camera that were discovered outside his residence. An immediate neighbor has now stated in a talk with the US Sun that he saw the singer and Celeste all the time and believed they lived together at home. Alright, but since he lives next door, he most likely was unaware that the girl was 13. He most likely caught a glimpse of her. She was constantly dressed in hoodie. In any case, the tenant, who wished to remain anonymous, said he was shocked to hear the news when he got back to Los Angeles this week after a trip. On Wednesday, he said, "I arrived here almost immediately. They were pretty silent. I didn't hear them partying or anything, and I never saw any police there. Nothing unusual. When I learned what had transpired, I was astonished. This is where I start to have some doubts about the source. In the UK, The Sun isn't a particularly respectable publication. It's kind of common knowledge that you shouldn't trust The Sun. Regarding you folks in the US, I have no idea. They're not that big in the US, in my opinion. Second, according to this guy, their home was quiet. That is not what we received from our other neighbor who indicated they were kind of the naughty party house. They made a lot of noise, lots of people, lots of automobiles. Perhaps this neighbor simply didn't listen. However, with what we currently have, it doesn't really add up. As I mentioned in the previous video, this is David's home with the cameras. There are cameras throughout the home, in case you missed the last one. Additionally, there are cameras in place if someone leaves the garage, the front entrance, the garden, or anything else. Additionally, they are unable to access it, as in, I doubt I'll be able to turn it off. So guys, I'm not sure. In my opinion, someone has to be seen on CCTV carrying a black bag, or at the very least, driving out of the house at an odd hour, because it's over if you guys spot David or his manager leave the house at 4 a.m. with a large black bag and throwing it in his Tesla's trunk. At least we don't know if they were captured on camera yet. However, there is little doubt that the police have access to the CCTV tape. They certainly don't. Here's another strange thing. The Sun filmed broken portions of a Ring doorbell camera off-scene on the ground after a police raid. Now, were David and his manager involved, or were the police involved? Did they want to conceal footage, so they destroyed the Ring doorbell camera? Not really conceal footage, of course, as I'm rather certain that the recordings are saved on the cloud. They smashed it though, so it is unable to record footage because it is clearly unable to do so when it is on the ground. The question now is, when did this break? Was this broken by the police in order to search for certain items during the raid? After learning that David was responsible for the murder, did a fan break this? They approached his home and demolished it. Or did a resident destroy something in order to maybe avoid being captured on camera? Strange, strange. Here are additional words from the neighbor. I knew he had a Tesla because it was often parked outside, but I had no idea he was a singer. He recognized Reavers from photos and said he was always with the girl on a regular basis. It was just a few months ago that I saw them. I may be mistaken, but I assumed they were only children. Perhaps a few of about 18 or 19? I didn't know. It's insane. You know, you can't really hold the neighbor responsible. He most likely didn't even look right. She was most likely wearing hoodies, and he most likely observed them from a distance. I'd be in my car, and we acknowledge each other, say hi. When they were going to the grocery or anything, that was about it. He never mended his Tesla after it was hit, so I did approach him about it. He remained silent about what transpired. Well, what caused the ding on this Tesla? You make a valid point. The musician was courteous, according to the neighbor, but he didn't want to strike up a conversation with the people who lived close by. They weren't very engaging whenever I tried to speak with them, the resident stated. They kept to themselves. I mean, I would probably try to keep to myself if I were grooming a 13-year-old girl and smuggling her. I didn't initially recognize the girl they claimed to have found in a car. My friend who owns the house has spoken to the police, but I haven't. So, be wary of this article because the Sun isn't the most reliable source, but they did provide us with some interesting information, and it appears that Celeste was there frequently because her neighbors actually recognized her, unless they're referring to the wrong girl. More recently, figure skater Elisa Liu has been putting her new routine on hold because of David's song. In summary, she included a David song in her ice dance performance, but she was forced to remove it because to the accusations. In the midst of an inquiry into Celeste Reavers' death, world champion figure skater Elisa Liu is separating from David and has announced that she would be dropping her newly premiered short program because the singer's song was included in the routine. She also made advantage of Luffy's and David's. It feels like this. Liu continued. She and her team are confidently pursuing a different direction that aligns with my values and just my overall ethos. Yes, if I were utilizing the song of a guy who had a 14-year-old girl dead in his trunk, I would do the same thing. His songs would not be used by me. Guys, that's about all I have to offer for today. As I mentioned in my previous video, we've essentially reached a dead end with this case. Not much new information is coming to us. In reality, we're merely receiving arbitrary images, obscure proof that supports the ideas, and other such arbitrary information. There aren't any fresh, tangible updates that advance this inquiry. As you may recall from the YW Melly case, where the rapper killed 2 of his pals, it took the police 3 months to get him. I believe it would take us a few weeks or perhaps months to acquire any information from the police or an arrest. Yes, therefore, it might take a few months for them to actually arrest David in these murder instances. So, yes, Please share your opinions with me in the comments section below. Was the girl standing next to David's brother on the balcony at the concert, Celeste? Was she there? Or do you believe that the Reddit investigators are going a bit too far with this? As an individual, I find it doubtful if that's her. The parking ticket, however, somewhat corresponds with the timeline. At the show, she was still alive. He then killed her soon after the event, which is why he received the parking ticket. The body was eventually discovered 10 days later. So, please share your opinions with me, and I'll see you in the next.